Hey, we're back. Yeah, we'll give it a few seconds for people to start coming back in if they do. Not exactly sure at one point we stopped, but I think it was, I mean, I know it was during Lumi's spiel thing. So we'll let Folkart just start at the beginning from his.
I figured it was all good because, you know, I didn't want to get I figured, you know, they're leaving me for last for a reason. So I figured there was bad news coming and, you know, the stream ending was like cool with me.
Yes, you were hoping that James Power didn't come right back on. That's what happened, by the way, guys. Our tech producer lost power for a minute, but we're back. Much to Jen's chagrin.
James, mute. Thank you.
I mean, your kids are fucking great and all, but
are they? Our kids great?
Not really, but you got to pretend. Otherwise, people assume that you're some sort of psycho.
I want to ban kids. That's my stance.
Just a fucking hard ban on children of all kinds. Until we can figure out what the hell's going on, we got to ban children.
That's exactly right. And since that doesn't happen till they're adults, there goes that.
So we just got to start growing people in vats to get rid of that terrible childhood phase.
Somewhere around 12 years old, the Martians come down, take their brains, experiment on it, and don't bring it back till they're like 25.
See, like, that's the thing that I don't really like. I don't have kids, so I have no dog in this fight or whatever. But like, you spend so long and they're almost useless, and then they get surly, and then theoretically they're decent people at the end of it, maybe. Like, the entire endeavor just seems like insane to me.
I don't know. I did pretty good. 3 out of 4 is pretty good. I'm just kidding.
But the fourth one didn't survive? Are we talking odds here?
No comment. I have one Halian.
There we go. Love it.
One child that decided I'm going to be like my mama, but I'm going to one-up her. I'm going to be worse than she ever thought she was.
It's genetic.
I don't know what you get, I guess. You know.
I mean, that's still a passing grade. 3 out of 4 is still a passing grade. So. Yeah. It's exactly a solid C.
Exactly right. And then the one, he's so much like me. How can I deny him?
I just don't want to have kids because I don't want the competition. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got it, man. And he won.
Like, I'm pretty shitty at competing for the attention of my significant other. I don't want to split that time up. I need all of her attention. We're fine.
That's terrible.
I'm a terrible significant other to have, so it works out.
It works out. Okay. So we were talking about Lumi. Folkart was on a roll over here talking about her recipe. Let's pick it up. Let's go.
Okay. All right. So where was I? Nuts in my buns. That's the name of her recipe.
Nuts in my buns.
Yeah. So I really like this recipe. She's using 1.48 Wonder Flavors buttercream frosting, 2.44 Wonder Flavors cinnamon pastry, 1.56 Wonder Flavors croissant, 1.63 Wonder Flavors glazed donuts, 1.23 Flavora pistachio, and 0.76 Wonder Flavors pistachio cream. And I mixed it exactly to the decimal point on this.
Wow.
No, I didn't. No. I come as close as I could. So yeah, I really like the way she built the pastry part of this, using the cinnamon pastry, the croissant, and the glazed donut. I think that makes up for a perfect kind of donut, cinnamon roll kind of base. The Wonder Flavors buttercream frosting in this, along with the Wonder Flavors pistachio cream, I think makes a wonderful white glaze on the pastry. It's sweet. It's not very sweet, but it's sweet. It's kind of sticky. The only thing that I have a problem with this recipe, I think the recipe is going in the right direction, but the only problem is I get a really bad off note from the Flavora pistachio. It's like a green kind of not quite ripe pistachio for me, and so that's kind of distracting from the better parts of this recipe. So for me personally, I think I would have probably went with a TPA pistachio, something like that. But other than that, I think it's a great recipe. I forgot anything else on it. Yeah, that's about all I have to say about it. But it's really good. Just that one thing. It's got a really nice brown sugar note in there as well that I really like.
So then you like it.
I do like it. Yes, I do. That pistachio is just getting in the way for me.
I live here in North Carolina, so I was making the fun of you like it.
I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
I'm blind to some really random flavors because I honestly couldn't even taste the flavor of pistachio.
Really?
I could not taste it at all. I was like, this tastes exactly like my regular cinnamon roll that I make, because I had to come up with this cinnamon roll base because I hate Flavor West cinnamon roll so much.
Yeah. Well, I think the pastry base is perfect in this. I get that kind of bitter note from that pistachio. Maybe I'm just, my palate's just screwed or something. I don't know.
Or I'm screwed. It could be mine. Because I couldn't even taste it. Like in the notes, I don't write notes, but I think I wrote I need more nuts.
Yeah. Now, does it taste like nuts in my buns? I don't know, but it's really good. Oh, there you go.
Very nice. All right, one more Vixen to go.
Yeah. So of the Vixens here, we got Winstead's recipe.
Remember, I do give you guys that evil look through the camera.
They ain't scared.
I'm kind of into it, honestly. Like it works out.
Masochist.
Just put me in my place. So the recipe of yours that I chose was pistachio cream puff. You've got 1/4% of Flavora biscotti, 3% of Flavor West white cake, 0.75% of Vape Train honeycomb, 0.25% of Kanako soy by Flavora, 1.5% Vape Train macadamia nut, 1% FA meringue, and 2% TPA pistachio. So what were you going for with this recipe?
Which recipe was it again? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, Lumi.
Hey!
I was going for a pistachio, creamy, a pistachio cream puff. What else would it be?
Hey, you've got the description in there. The description sounds delicious.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah. So, like, I don't want to sound like too much of a knee-jerk jackass here, but like, I really do like the fact that you built this really cool pistachio cream puff recipe. There's like that white cake works there. You've got a good amount of nuttiness from like the Kanako soy and the pistachio. You got like a little bit of like a honeycomb toffee kind of note from that Vape Train honeycomb. I like the macadamia nut and the pistachio sort of playing together. Those two work really well. That sort of more artificial pistachio with the Kanako soy for some actual nuttiness and the Vape Train macadamia nut. Like it all makes like a very compelling package. I don't get the Flavora biscotti here, which is kind of interesting because like it's an 8.75% recipe. I really like 8.5% of this recipe. And then that biscotti just kind of really distracts me, I guess, from all the other really cool things going on here.
Why?
Yeah, it just seems like that biscotti just cuts right through the top of the recipe for me.
Well, I mean, that's my cookie, man. It's supposed to be bigger than the rest.
It's a bulldozer of a cookie.
So I used it too high.
Honestly, I didn't get a chance to try this without the biscotti, but like I think the biscotti has kind of almost like it's crunchy to the point of almost having like a burnt coffee kind of note to it.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of almond in there too.
Yeah, and like I don't hate all of the biscotti. It's just like there's that little bit of like sort of burnt coffee-ish taste that just kind of floats to the top for me.
Well,
so
I ate my food burnt.
Okay, well, I mean, if you're into burning your cream puffs, no, but
I'm just messing with you, man. I mean, who can I argue better with than with concrete? Wait,
no,
fun to pick on.
Like I said, like I'm a big fan of this recipe. I don't necessarily get the biscotti here.
Honestly, I was just trying to go a little different. I always use FA cookie for everything, and if I don't use FA cookie, then I use Flavor West graham cracker. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, I've used those flavors. I've overused them. So I was like, what can I use? And I sniffed it, and I was like, yeah, we'll use this, and that's how I came up with it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
otherwise it'd been like all my other recipes, you know.
Hey, I really like the recipes. Like 7 flavors in a Winstead recipe is like a special treat. It's like getting a 2-flavor recipe from other people.
Why you picked it? Because it was only 7 flavors.
I picked it because I had everything for it. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. I liked the recipe. I just, honestly, like that whole like stale ass FA cookie thing. Like I think this probably would have worked a little bit better with FA cookie for me.
And you're probably right. But I wanted to. I really honestly used the biscotti in order not to use my usual flavors, because sometimes you just have to think outside the box and throw it out there, see if it works. You know what I mean? Because otherwise I'm just so comfortable with my usual FA cookie with a little bit of Flavor West graham cracker. That's like my comfort zone. So I was just trying to wiggle right outside of it, you know? I actually did vape the whole 30 mil that I made of it. It wasn't bad, but I'm also a tobacco vapor, so I do like the little bit of a burnt note on stuff.
Yeah, so, and I guess that's a better way to put it. That sounds like less like me just being a complete asshole. It's like, yeah, it definitely gives it like a little bit of a tobacco vibe, which I wasn't necessarily expecting from the recipe description.
Right, I get that.
Okay, so.
That's it. I mean, I like the recipe except for the biscotti. We talked about it. We got it. Okay. Crutches are crutches for a reason.
Folkart, your turn.
Okay, so speaking of FA cookie and Flavor West graham cracker, I mixed up one of your recipes. It was the Frosties Kisses.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
use the same combo in 2 of your recipes?
No, this one has the Flavor West.
Yeah.
Graham crust and the FA cookie.
Yeah. So she didn't go with the biscotti in this one. So you want to tell me kind of what you were going for? I mean, it's kind of straightforward, but.
Yeah, it's just a cookie with a Hershey's Kiss on top.
Okay.
It's kind of like a chocolate chip cookie with a Hershey's Kiss on top.
With a peppermint, right?
Yeah, the peppermint Hershey's Kiss, the one that are white with the red in them. Yeah.
I got you. Okay, so I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I'm not that big of a fan of peppermint. I don't know why I mixed this recipe up, but I did want to try it out. It looked pretty solid to me. It is peppermint forward. It's got undertones of light chocolate and cookie. The chocolate, I'm assuming, is coming from the Mullenberry Bounty, and of course the liquid.
And it would have been a white chocolate.
Yeah. I'm getting a little bit of that white chocolate in there. The cookie is a little bit on the light side for me, but it's still a good solid cookie base. I do like what the meringue is doing to the recipe. Maybe I need to read this recipe off first. So she's using TPA AP at 0.25%, Mullenberry Bounty at 4%. FA cookie at 1.5, Flavor West graham cracker at 0.75, FA meringue at 1, and liquid barn white chocolate peppermint at 5. Yeah, so I really like how the meringue kind of softens the cookie up some. The AP adds just a touch of crunchiness to help sell that cookie note in there. this is just my preference. If I were making this for me, I would probably lower that white chocolate peppermint down just a little bit, just for my palate. But people who like peppermint, I think it's a good choice to use it at 5%. But yeah, overall, it's a really good solid recipe. I like it.
See, to me, even at 5%, because with steep time, it does mellow out some, and the chocolate does push forward. I was debating on pushing that up some more, because I wanted that peppermint. When you put one of those in your mouth, one of those peppermint Hershey Kisses, you taste a lot more of that sweetness and that peppermint, and it's white chocolate. It's not actually chocolate. So I really debated with that. And the reason that I added the AP was because between the white chocolate peppermint and the Bounty, those are both very creamy. I felt like they were going to make my recipe into a cream and get rid of the cookie. It still happened, but not quite as bad. And as it steeps, the AP does kick in there and pushes it up, but it's still a soft cookie rather than a crunchy cookie.
Yeah. And I think that meringue kind of helps that softness out. Did you add the meringue to kind of add to that white chocolate note too, to make the white chocolate?
It was to bridge them, because the white chocolate peppermint and the Bounty and then cookie, I needed something. FA meringue is crispy, but it's not so crispy that it's kind of like the middle point between crispy and creamy. So it kind of bridges the two different profiles together.
Yeah. I like what you did with it. It's good. Fantastic.
See, Concrete, why can't you be like Folkart?
I try so hard every day. I wake up and I'm like, what would Folkart do?
Oh my God.
all I want to do is have a quarter of his natural charm and good looks, and it's never gonna happen.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you, Concrete. Anyhow, it makes it for a fun show anyways. It's
okay. Like, I'm pretty sure that my parents would say, "Why couldn't you be more like Folkart if they knew Folkart?" So we're okay.
Oh my God.
Okay. So Jarvis isn't here. Were we going to do her recipes too?
I really want to talk about her recipe that she did.
All right,
let's do it.
That I mixed up.
Go for it.
You want me to go ahead?
Yeah,
Take
sure.
it away.
Okay. So I mixed up Jarvis's sugar and spice makes all the nuts nice.
I mixed up the same one too. So
okay,
yeah.
Good.
Awesome.
Good. Because when I saw this recipe, I was like, what the I don't understand why she would do this.
Seriously, on paper, it looks like some hot bullshit.
It does, don't it? It really does. So I'm just going to read off what she wrote. Deep fried mixed nuts coated in cinnamon sugar and topped with a squeeze of lime to perk them up. The scorched caramel brings out the cooked over an open fire note from the sugar layer. So she's using 1.75 cap cinnamon sugar, 0.35 of FA Florida key lime, 0.25 vape train macadamia nut, 0.4 flavor art nut mix, 0.5 vape train scorched caramel, and 0.2% flavor sweet dough.
I like 1 out of the 6 flavors in this mix by itself.
Oh,
Florida
really?
Key lime's okay.
Yeah.
Macadamia nut isn't bad.
So the first thing that I wrote in my notes was, I don't know how to describe this. I've never really tasted anything like this, but I like it. It's so different that it just kind of forced me to like it. It's like a tropical nut thing with a touch of cinnamon spice. Is that what you get off of it?
Yeah, it's kind of surprising. Like, saying that, like, I like 1, maybe 2 of these flavors. It does a pretty fucking convincing job of doing like a nut thing. And she says deep fried instead of roasted, which you do get like a little bit of greasiness from the sweet dough, but I was sort of more intrigued by the stuff I wasn't tasting here. I want to say, because like that scorched caramel, I'm not a big fan of that flavor by itself. I feel like it just tastes kind of burnt, like it's scorched. That isn't necessarily a good thing. But it works here. I don't get like a weird mapley off note from the sweet dough, which I usually do. I don't taste pennies, even though the cap cinnamon sugar is like the highest flavor in the recipe, which still 1.75% isn't a lot of that flavor. But yeah, no, I pretty much get like, okay, this is sort of a deep fried nut mix, which I don't know how these flavors work together to make that, but here we are. It's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, for me, it's very lime top heavy. I mean, that's kind of the first thing that you notice is the lime, and you're thinking lime with nuts, that's crazy. But I don't really get a very heavy nut mix. What I do get from the nuts is like the FA nut mix, give it almost like a saltiness to the mix, which actually goes pretty good with lime. I didn't know that, but it works pretty good. I get a little bit of the caramel. I actually do like the scorched caramel. I use it in like some coffees and things like that. So I really dig that flavor. You don't want to go crazy with it, but yeah, it adds just a little bit of that caramel note in it for me.
Scorched isn't a positive descriptor. Like at no point do I want to see something scorched.
Well, there's leather and dirt, and you guys like, tobacco flavors.
Yeah, but like that's referring to actual things. This is like adjective. Like you call something scorched, it's like, oh, that got fucked up. You scorched.
Yeah, that's not good.
Scorched the beans.
Maybe it means
scorched the soup.
Maybe it means something different in Australia. I don't know.
Just fucking crazy ass kangaroo country where scorched is a positive descriptor for something.
They probably just mean burnt caramel.
Yeah.
But still, burnt isn't a positive descriptor either.
No, I made caramel. You do not want to burn that shit. It does not go well.
Concrete, do you get like that over the fire roasted kind of note in this?
Not necessarily as much as I had hoped for. I do get like a kind of warmth there, and I do get like when she says deep fried, like I get like some of that oiliness and that warmth. I think in terms of what I would do to the recipe, theoretically, like I feel like it could use a little bit more of like a more clear sort of roasty note. Like I was almost thinking like an absolutely minuscule amount of something like FA's Black Fire or something to add some actual like smokiness to it.
That's exactly what I put in my notes too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it feels like this is a really interesting jump off for a tobacco or something smoky. Like it feels like it isn't quite finished as a recipe. I would just want like that extra smoky sort of counterpoint to that to kind of fill it out a little bit more.
Finished scorching, right?
Yeah, like if you're gonna fucking scorch it. Just throw all the fucking smoke in there. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, yeah, this is a super interesting recipe for me, and I like it. It's very different. It's very different.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah. So you guys liked everything, and we all win.
Yes. Everybody wins.
Yay!
Except for James. Get a better power grid, you dipshit.
Yeah.
There wasn't an actual dumpster fire in here, huh?
No. They were They were all good. Y'all stepped up your game.
Because we don't know what the hell you're going to pick.
Exactly.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
We don't know what the hell you're going to pick, so we can't just fuck around. Otherwise, we'll be like, oh, shit, they got that one.
Just buy really obscure flavors, and then they can't mix it.
No,
like,
and
on a week I don't want to mix, I'll pull something out my hat. But, the thing is that I don't know.
Yeah, just like start adding like fucking Nick Vape flavors or something to the recipes you don't want me to mix, because I'm never buying that shit.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna buy that either, so forget it.
Yeah, but then we might have to sub stuff, and then it like maybe really turn out bad.
Or Delosi, I'm still not sure that's a real flavoring company. I'm just saying.
Delosi has some good stuff.
It is. They've got good stuff.
Graham says that they do exist, so.
Yeah, but I don't trust.
I was going to say, you can't trust what Graham says. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much, Rick and Folkart, for showing up, mixing our stuff, giving us some feedback. It's what it's all about, and the whole point of changing the format and kind of how we do things is just kind of make us step our game up a bit, because we don't know what you're going to pick, and we want to make sure that all of our mixes are as good as possible. So we really appreciate you guys coming on. And I'm really excited for next week. We're starting a new round of profiles, and it looks really freaking good. I picked this one. I forget. I need to look to see who submitted it.
Miguel by IO.
Miguel submitted this. Thank you so much, Miguel.
Let me guess, it's scorched caramel.
I've already kind of started theory crafting for it and stuff. Haven't mixed it up a version yet, but I'm excited. It looks pretty tasty. So let's just thank our sponsors. Get on out of here. Thank you so much, Flavora. Thank you, Bull City. Flavors2go.ca, where you can get Pure Elm in Canada. And thank you, Scott, over All the Flavors, for hooking us up with an account so we can have all our recipes in one convenient location. And Wayne, thank you so much for putting us on your podcast network. We really appreciate it.
And I found out that Bull City is going to have the vanilla custard too from TFA on the website tomorrow.
Great. Good. So, you want to mix that up. It's supposed to be really good and close to FA Custard Premium. So if you don't, order overseas or whatever, get your custard premium fix.
Or close enough. It's close to it, but it's a little it's a little richer, I think. It's a little different.
And guys, all of you that are still with us, all 42 of you that are still with us, thank you so much for coming back after we had technical difficulties. We appreciate it. We love you. Everyone have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.